All right, thank you, Dr. Wagner. Thank you, Araceli. Good afternoon. My name is Mario Goff, again, Executive Director of Instructional Services and Leadership here in Somerset ISD. We are excited to present to you our Data Cubed. Here in Somerset, we use data to build relationships and engage, empower, and energize all our stakeholders across the districts, from our teachers to administrators into our students. Here in Somerset ISD, our use of Eduphoria has allowed us to make data a part of our daily practices. To give you a little bit of history about Somerset ISD, we are located 20 minutes south of downtown San Antonio, and we are a rural community with a big heart. We have 7 campuses total. We have an early childhood campus. We have 2 elementary campuses, 1 intermediate campus that houses our 5th and 6th grade students, 1 junior high campus that houses our 7th and 8th grade students. We have 1 traditional high school campus, and we also have 1 early college high school campus. We have about 4,200 students, with 86% of our students being economically disadvantaged, and 92% of our students are Hispanic. If we were to take a view and look in a rearview mirror and look at the past of Somerset ISD, you can see that in 2013, 5 out of our 6 campuses were rated as improvement required and on the verge of being subject to reconstitution. 39% of our high school students were college ready, and our 4-year graduation rate was at 81%. So again, back in 2013, 5 out of our 6 campuses were on the verge of being reconstituted. But if we were to drive forward and we look at 2025, you can see the journey that Somerset ISD has made in the past 13 years. Currently, all of our campuses are rated as an A or a B. We are one of few districts in the state of Texas that has an A-rated district. 95% of our students in Somerset ISD are high school students that are college and career ready, and our 4-year graduation rate stands at 95%. Somerset ISD is one of the top ranked school districts in Bexar County. With that being said, Somerset ISD is making the news. Our school board was recognized in 2021 for their outstanding work that they've done in Region 20 in partnership with our school district. Our former superintendent was also recognized in 2022 as Superintendent of the Year for Region 20. And the past 2 years, 4 or more of our campuses have been placed on the Texas Honor Roll for the Educational Results Partnership Report Card. Lastly, I would just like to note that this past February, Somerset High School was recognized as the 2025 Founders Award at the NIET National Conference. Along with their accolades for the improvement of school and student success, the school also and the district received a $50,000 monetary award for that recognition. Our growth in Somerset and the recognitions that have come our way are all based on the relationships that are built around the data. As I mentioned at the beginning, Eduphoria has been a major factor in the success of Somerset ISD. And to tell us more about the use of Eduphoria is our Senior Director of Instruction and Leadership, Rose Chapa.
Thank you, Mr. Goff, and welcome everyone to this wonderful presentation. Again, this is Data Cubed, Engaged, Empowered, and Energized. Just to give you a little information, our session goal will be to highlight how Eduphoria's Aware guides Somerset in growing individuals at every level of the system. The outcomes, as a result of attending the session, you will be able to understand the relationship between assessment data and instruction, what is going on in that classroom. And we also will look at how effective data analysis guides instructional practices that result in student growth, because everyone knows that's the goal, growing our students, and how the intersection of these outcomes energizes all stakeholders and creates a culture of success. To tell you a little bit about the process of this presentation is we're going to share some high leverage Eduphoria reports. We're going to discuss the multi-layered engagement with the highlighted reports, and we'll discuss how engagement results in empowerment. And then we will show how these actions produce energy and energize all stakeholders. So we are going to go ahead and begin by looking at our customizable reports that we get from our data in Eduphoria's Aware. The very first report we're going to look at is our student scores. It's very high level. This is just a big overview of what this report does. It does tell us how our students performed on a unit of study. And then to the left, it details our super groups and how each group performed on that particular unit of study in comparison to other all student groups. And how we use it in Somerset is we use this report as high level data, and we use it as a starting point of our data analysis. We look for trends using historical data in comparison to previous years. And we also compare to how our students performed on these concepts on STAR the previous year. This leads us to a deeper analysis of the data. So then we'll move forward to the next level, which is the student scores at the campus level. This report gives us the same information, but it tells us at the campus level. So again, we look at how we can compare the data between one campus and another. Is one campus doing better on this unit of study than another? If so, what is that one campus doing that we can share with the other? Sometimes we'll have our principals go and look at what's happening in the classrooms if it really is a unit of study that we really need to look at. So we do drill down the same information, but to the specific campus. And then we go a little deeper and we go to the teacher level. This report provides us an opportunity to compare how individual teachers are performing on this particular unit of study. This report provides us the same details as the previous report, but drills down to individual teachers. We're then able to look to see if there are any anomalies. Is there a teacher that is a clear standout on this unit? If so, how do we tap into her expertise and support teachers that might not be doing as well? And as you can hear through what we're talking about, our teachers look forward to being able to support one another because that is the culture that has been created here in Somerset. We can go even further. After we look at individual teachers, we also look at the section. So we can take a particular teacher and look at each section. And is there a section where the students performing better than others? Is it that we see that after lunch, every class is struggling? What are we going to do differently? Is there a section in the morning where kids are coming in late and we're able to change what those schedules look like and really support the teachers? And then finally, we can go down to the student level. When we drill down to the student level, we're able to see which students are struggling with this unit. Again, this is all high-level data, and we'll dig in a little deeper to look at historical data for this. And I'd like to point out that at the very beginning, before school even starts, we come together for what we call a Summer Administrator Academy. This is our first opportunity to really take the state data that we pull from Eduphoria and share across the district with our administrators to see where are we going to pinpoint our focus for the school year? How are we going to choose what our focus is going to be as we begin the school year with each of the campuses. Again, to drill down a little farther, I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Lisa Riojas. She is our assessment coordinator for the district. Lisa?
Thank you, Rose Chapa. And thank you, Mr. Goff, for highlighting our accolades and celebrations that our district has had the opportunity to encompass in our journey with our students, and knowing that these elements that we're talking to you about in Eduphoria support that journey. So this document in particular is called the Student Individual Response Report. This report is robust with many supportive elements. So I'm going to talk through with you just about a few of them. So this report provides a detailed overview of each student's responses to assessment items. This report is crucial for educators as it offers insight into individual student performance and understanding of specific concepts. So some of the key features of this report include a detailed response tracking. The report lists each student's responses to individual questions on assessments, which allows teachers to see exactly how each student answered. It also provides correct and incorrect responses. It highlights which responses were correct and which were incorrect. And you can see that by the colorations of green and red, green being correct and red being incorrect. This gives educators a clear picture of student mastery of specific skills and content. The assessment item analysis is an area that is where educators can analyze how students performed on different types of questions, such as multiple choice, open-ended, or interactive items, which can inform instruction and assessment design. Here in Texas, we take the end of the year cumulative assessment called STAR. And we know that since STAR has moved online, students are exposed to different item types. So this document provides us insight into how students are performing on those new item types to see if that's an instructional component that we need to leverage and close gaps in. If you hover over the question number, and you can see the gold arrow that's pointing to it, and then click on the question number, you will see that the item type and question within the context of the assessment is presented. This is vital as we look at how students performed on a specific question and how that question was presented. So again, another instructional tool that supports student growth and closing gaps. In this report, we're also able to identify trends by examining individual responses. Teachers can identify patterns in performances such as common misconceptions or reoccurring errors among students, which can guide targeted interventions. Supporting the differentiation component provides teachers and supports teachers in creating customized learning plans or small groups to address specific learning needs. So here in Somerset, another area that we really hone in on is monitoring our students, every student. We know every student by name and need, and we do that by monitoring them throughout the year as we look to see if they are hoppers in their performance, droppers compared to the year before, or maintainers. They're performing right at about the same level as they were in previous years. So that is critical information as we develop that educational plan for students. So here is where the transfer begins. So taking that data that we capture from our student individualized response report, we move it to action. So on the picture on the left, you'll see our teachers immersed in what we call cluster. It's a professional development opportunity that takes place weekly in our district. And that cluster is created based on the data that we extract from our Eduphoria documents and reports. So it is very specialized, what are teachers and students needing, and the support is provided in that cluster professional learning support. On the right, you'll see that transfer of what happens in cluster straight into the classroom as teachers provide that specialized instruction and small group intentionality to target student needs. The next report we're going to take a look at is the incorrect response report in Eduphoria. And this was, I had many favorites as a classroom teacher, but this one was definitely one of them. In this report, it helps educators analyze student mistakes on assessment. And this report provides valuable insight into students' incorrect answers that enables teachers to identify areas where students may be struggling. So some of the key features of the incorrect response report include item level analysis. The report details which questions students answered incorrectly, allowing educators to see patterns and errors across different assessment items. It also groups. That's where this became very important for me as a classroom teacher. It categorizes incorrect responses by type, such as text entry, interactive questions and items like that, but we're able to see where populations of students are having struggles and where we can support and again create those small groups, intentionally designed intervention spaces. And this report also supports reflective teaching practices. So if we have a large amount of students who are missing or having struggles on a particular item type or a particular question, then that's a reflective component for us as educators to determine where we can adjust our instructional pieces to help make necessary adjustments and improve student understanding. Overall, this report is essential and is an essential resource for teachers because it provides actionable insights that can enhance teaching practices and ultimately improve student learning outcomes. The Learning Standards Breakdown Report in Eduphoria provides a comprehensive analysis of student performance based on specific learning standards. So you can see at the top of that report, our learning standards are broken down. We can see how students are performing and various subpops. This report breaks down student responses to assessments, allowing educators to see how well students are meeting each standard. So some of the key features of this report is that it details performance for individual learning standards, highlighting areas where students excel, because we want to know those areas as well, and where they may need additional support. So if we've already taught a particular concept and they're excelling in it, then we know that we're good to move on. And additionally, if we haven't taught a concept yet, but they're doing well, then we know then we can adjust some time that we might have allocated for that standard and move it to some other area that might need more time. So this report also categorizes students based on their mastery of the standards, helping teachers identify which students are struggling and which are exceeding expectations. Educators can compare results across different assessments or over time, allowing for an examination of trends in student performance. And this report provides insights that can inform instructional decisions, helping educators tailor their teaching strategies to better meet the needs of their students. And again, on this report, I just want to highlight that you are able to look and monitor your different subpopulations to make sure that, again, here in Somerset, we're meeting every student by name and need. And so that helps us to ensure that every subpopulation, whether it be a special education student, is showing growth and how we can support that student in specific areas to capture even more growth and elevate their outcome. I'm going to turn it now back to Mr. Goff.
Thank you, Mr. Rojas. One of the things that I want to add and will lead us into the next couple of slides is the reports from Eduphoria are powerful themselves. The magic behind the reports is the conversations that come along with those reports. And just to add a little bit more on the learning standard breakdown, for example, here We have the next slide. We have 3 teachers that we can see. Thank you, Araceli. So we have 3 teachers that we can see here. And again, it's the power in those conversations that happen. So here we can see, for example, if we were to look at 6.3D, that learning standard tells us that right now we have one teacher that is outperforming another teacher by almost 12 percentage points. And then again, that power of the conversation is, what is that one teacher doing that we can share with another teacher to move that needle of instruction across the board in all classrooms? And then it also shows us something like 6.4B, where again, across the board, we are struggling. So instructionally, what are those changes we need to do in order to make sure that the instruction is making our students successful? And then finally, something like TEAC 6.3E, or excuse me, 6.4A, we're doing fairly well across the board. So all of our teachers are on par with each other. So let's highlight what we're doing and continue to do that so those learning standards continue to grow. And again, with the power of the reports come the power of the conversation. And those conversations lead us to what our district does in order to prepare for our teacher professional development learning. So at the beginning of the year, at the end of the year, our district looks at the reports from Eduphoria, and this really does help us to tailor our district staff development going into the summer and also the learning opportunities throughout the school year. The data that we collect also allows the district to focus on those high leverage points that will give us the greatest return. So again, the reports and the conversations that go around those reports really do allow Somerset ISD to truly focus on that teacher and staff development that will also trickle down into our student success. With those reports, our campuses also participate in a summer institute. During the summer, each of our campuses will look at reports, analyze those reports from Eduphoria, and then the team will then identify trends and patterns that will make instructional decisions that will better support teachers and allow our students to continue to grow. From that summer institute, our district also develops our unit assessments. Eduphoria is a key in the development of our local unit assessments, and the data that is extracted from Eduphoria is also a part of our weekly conversations during instructional planning. And lastly, all of this filters into classroom instruction. All data is linked to what is occurring in the classroom. And here I want to highlight Ms. Hyman. She's a 6th grade math teacher at Savannah Heights. The past 2 years, she has grown over 70% of her students on the STAR assessment. She also has all the emergent bilingual students on her roster. And in the past 2 years, she has grown 80% of her EB students on her math 6th grade STAR assessment. Last year, Ms. Hyman became a TIA teacher, and this year she was recognized as the district's Trinity University Teacher of the Year. Ms. Hyman has stated that the relationship she has built with her leadership team around the data and the data reports have transformed her teaching. She is constantly in Eduphoria, analyzing the data and making those instructional decisions that are going to allow her to grow as a teacher, but more importantly, are going to allow her students to grow as well. She has stated that the power of data is built on the relationship that she is making with her students and her leadership team. And then now to tell us a little bit more about the use of Eduphoria in Somerset ISD is our Director of Instructional Services, Dr. Teresa Sellers.
Thank you, Mr. Goff. Thank you, team. It's exciting to see how these reports really do impact culture, excitement, and energy at Somerset. So I want to shift our attention at this point and talk about the constructed response. This is really important because depending on a student's grade level, that ECR accounts for 18 to 19% of available points when we're thinking about state testing. And we know that that SCR, or the short constructed response, cuts across all contents, our reading, our science, and our social studies. So in light of that, Eduphoria Aware has offered us multiple tools that allow us to really examine how well our students are doing in these areas. In this first example here, I pulled a reporting category report, and it's broken down a reporting category 1 and 2. And this clearly shows us that we have a discrepancy at this particular grade level between students' ability to comprehend what they're reading and their ability to engage in responding to writing, as well as multiple choice answers. So this knowledge really does empower coaches. It empowers teachers to design intentional instruction aimed at elevating knowledge, content, and success at all levels of the system. So in addition to that reporting category report, I'm able to gather more nuanced data by utilizing the editing feature, which allows me to customize reports and extract very focused data. In this example, I pulled ECR data, and that ECR data is used to populate internal spreadsheets so that student growth can be carefully monitored to ensure that each and every student is progressing in his or her ability to show what they know through the written word. So as you can see here, I used the editing button. I selected extended constructed responses, and so I can really disaggregate data at that level. And on the next slide, I want to show you how that data is used to populate internal sheets. This is an example of how we pulled data and then compared it across the state. So you can see we were really super excited and thrilled that we were able to beat the state. But on the other hand, using the reports available to us in Eduphoria, we can see that in most instances, our students were identified as basic writers. And because of that knowledge, the team developed a reading, language arts assessments with opportunities for students to engage in the ECR. And so here is just another view where you can really pull those nuanced data. I can see that 80% of our students were earning zeros. I can see what percentage are earning ones, twos, all the way up to the top. And then, of course, we can modify the math here and take each one of those percentages and every student that we have. So in this example, we can tell that 25% of our students are earning zeros, while very few of our students are fully developed.
Oh, it looks like we may have lost Dr. Sellers. We'll pause for just a second to see if she's able to hop back in. While we're waiting, I do have a question. This did not come from the webinar chat. What is Somerset's practices in using something like single test analysis to look at some of this data in similar but definitely different ways?
Did you want to answer that, Mr. Goff?
Yeah, so
I
I'm going to say,
apologize, team.
Oh, not a problem.
are you
While we
back
were
on,
waiting,
Dr.
I just
Sellers?
asked a question.
I am back. I apologize, team.
Not a
I
problem.
lost connectivity.
So
So as you can,
I was just saying, Dr.
so
Sellers,
this data,
I had asked a question, so I'm
yes.
going to go ahead and I'll turn it back to you and I'll let you finish, and we'll bring the question back up when we get near the end.
Awesome. Thank you.
Oh, okay. So this data right here, it does not remain in the abstract. It doesn't remain in this virtual space. It empowers us to take tangible actions and next steps. So on the next slide, you will see that that data became district-wide PD. It was developed specifically so that we could engage in ECR learning. It was shared out at our district with our district academic leadership team. That includes all of our campus administrators, our master teachers or coaches, with the intention that all this learning would be taken back to their campuses and included each week in that job embedded development. So as you can see, all of the data becomes action steps for us, building, energizing, and growing. And since we know that those standards and student expectations that involve reading and writing are included in our K-2 foundational literacy standards, and we know that that impacts success at the upper grades, specialized learning was designed and developed for our early childhood teachers and shared in our district level literacy institutes. In addition to those valuable reports just described, AWARE also captures and organizes student-constructed responses. Well, let's take a look at those. Thank you, Ms. Seidler. This report shows the student score, and this is an SCR, so we can see that there was a possible that the student earned 0 of 2. We also get some information about the word count. We also get information about the character count, which is all very important for us to know. And we can also see exactly what the student wrote. So that is just fantastic. We can see that. Another report that I really like is highlighted in our next slide. It's very similar to this report. Can we see the, and in the next slide, there it goes. Thank you, Ms. Seidler. In this one, it can be printed. I've got a little pair of scissors flying in there somewhere for you all. So we can see, again, the student scores. We can see the word count. We can see the character count. We can see the response. And in this information, I print this. I cut these into individual strips. Their work is returned to them as students, and this becomes an authentic instructional activity where students can revise and edit their writing. And it gives teachers a really good opportunity to analyze student work, identify trends and patterns that can be leveled up to that whole class level. So this report allows us to support learning for the entire class, as well as those writing conferences and that feedback at the individual level. So as you can see, all of these reports really do enhance a learning, and it really speaks to the cycle that we have here in Somerset. It shows that cycle you've heard all of us talk about, how data is used to drive what happens. I'm on that next slide, Ms. Seidler. Our data drives what happens in our DALT, which is our district learning. It filters down to our cluster, which is campus learning. It filters into our classroom, finds its way, most importantly, to our learners. And the cycle is just a continuous loop. And in this way, we use data to grow students. This approach embodies what is commonly referred to as the iron triangle, where the nexus of data, instruction, and curriculum converge to create powerful learning spaces. While we could spend days and days describing the way we use Eduphoria tools, such as their editing features, the way that we can disaggregate data at the question level type, determining how and when students utilize their designated supports, I truly could go on and on. But know that we found the reports we found in AWARE are utilized to populate our internal spreadsheets that track and monitor each and every student. Because of AWARE, we are aware of each student. We know whether the student is maintaining, whether they're growing or regressing. And in this manner, teachers are empowered to design targeted, intentional instruction. Can you tell we love our AWARE and use it in meaningful ways?
Dr. Wagner?
Yes.
Yeah, and it looks like Dr. Seller's connection is struggling a little bit.
That's all
Um,
right.
so what I wanted to do is I just wanted to jump to your question real quick, just regarding the single test analysis. I will share that Somerset ISD just recently got on board with the Aware Premium. Um, we had
Oh, excellent.
yes, we had the traditional views, very able to use them and very familiar with them. I will say that when we got onto Aware Premium and we were able to see the single test analysis, it really was a game changer for us. And the real big reason why just has to do with the quick data that is at our fingertips, literally within a click. And allowed us to really be focused on, again, we know our kiddos by name and need. The single test analysis has given us just another lens in order to see each kiddo by name and need. So we get excited when a kiddo is at a master's level. The single test analysis, what it's done is it's allowed us to see like, oh, wait a minute, kiddo is a master's kid, but yet we're one question away from sliding back to meets, right? So like, great, excited, but this is a group of kiddos that we have to keep an eye on because we can't afford to have them slide back. The other thing that it's done is just quite the opposite, right? It's allowed us to see that potential with our student groups as well. So if a student is, we have a group of students that are 1 to 2 questions away, very quickly we can identify who those kiddos are, and then we can now pull those groups and push those students because they might be, again, 1 question away from going from approaches to meets, or that 1 question away from going to that meets to the masters, or they didn't pass and they're now growing and getting close to that approaches level. So it really has given Somerset ISD a new lens to look through. And I think more importantly, it literally is a click away and the data is right there for us to see. So it really has been a blessing for us and a game changer on just how quickly we are now able to now analyze data from our unit assessments and our benchmarks that we give in the district. So I hope that answers your question.
Oh, it absolutely does, and it's really incredible to hear because I had looked up that you were aware. I didn't realize it was so recent, and
Yes.
so I think it's really amazing to me to see what you guys were able to do with quick views alone and the reports that we have alone, because that shows just how powerful of users you guys were and how embracing what was there could really make a big difference. And I'm going to extend just kind of an open invite to maybe next year, asking you guys to come back and show us how you use some of the new features to enhance that even further. I think that would be a really exciting journey to see.
Absolutely, because I will tell you that as soon as our teachers and our master teachers had access to this, the first thing they said was, "This is not going away, right?" So I can tell you for sure that it is a tool that we were excited to have access to, a tool that we are currently using, and then we'll just continue to grow in our district regarding the use of it. So yes, I will take you up on that offer to come back a year from now and give you a presentation on what we're doing with the single test analysis in our district.
That's awesome. Rose, I saw you went unmuted. Did you want to say
I
something?
did. I wanted to share. We had our data meetings a few weeks ago, and one of our master teachers really discussed when he used that single test analysis, how it changed the way he was grouping support and pooling students. Because it wasn't those students that are in the meets that are about to go to masters. It really was on the other end, like Mr. Goff said, those students that could easily slip to another performance band. So it really did change the way that campus restructured their grouping in supporting their students on the campus. So like I said, like Mr. Goff said, it's a very powerful tool that we really have taken to heart. And a lot of our principals are like, do not take that away. Do not let that go away from us. And I just really wanted to share that piece as well.
That's incredible feedback and testimony there. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, and Dr. Wagner, if I can just add one more quick thing just to what Mrs. Chapa was saying. is that what I do notice right now is just with the single test analysis. Again, we're fairly new into the game with it because we just got on board with it. I will say that it is, one, very friendly to use. Two, the data that is pulled from it is just of value to our teachers. And so I just wanted to say that our master teachers are using it. In turn, our teachers are using it, and it really is the easiness of it, and just that data that is pulled from there that really is an eye opener for our district. And I just wanted to add that the friendliness of the single test analysis is one thing that our teachers have complimented on.
That's awesome. Okay, we are very near the end of our time, and as you can see, we're on the Q&A slide. I'd like to extend an opportunity to our attendees. If you have any questions, feel free to drop those in to the chat or into the Q&A window. You'll have been so succinct and on target. I'm not sure any or are even needed at this point. Y'all done an incredible job.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right, Araceli, if you would show the next slide there. And I'll pass it back to one of y'all. Do y'all have anything specific you'd like to end it with?
I would just say thank you for the opportunity. Also, thank you to Dr. Sellers for organizing everything. And if anybody's out there listening to this, please feel free to reach out to anybody. And we would be glad to listen and offer any advice that we can with the use of Eduforia.